So this is day 2 of filling the freezer to have a successful beginning of 2025. So I need to preheat the oven. 375. I went ahead and took my 1-pound loaf pan, completely lined it with parchment paper. We're going to go ahead and start working on the sourdough bread. But look how beautiful it is. It's been sitting here for probably 14, 15 hours. Ooh, look at that. It's risen beautiful. Look at all those bubbles. Put some flour down on our bench. I'm just going to give it a little knead. I'm just trying to get the top nice and smooth. It's very, very sticky. All right, let's go ahead and drop it into our pan. I'm going to take a knife and score it right down the center. Perfect. Let me take my magnets off before I forget those. And once the oven heats up to 375, we're going to bake it anywhere between 45 minutes to an hour. In the oven it goes. I have the timer set for 45 minutes. But before we start on those English muffins, I want to show you that ham cheese bread. So the husband and I did have a small slice last night. So when I opened it, look at all that beautiful ham and cheese, all family. I'm going to slice it about a 1/2 inch thick. But you can see bits of ham and cheese all through this bread. And if you have not seen the video where we made this ham and cheese bread, I'm going to leave a link right here, plus in the description below, because it was just a regular yeast bread that we added about a cup of ham and a cup of Monterey Jack cheese. But you can use any kind of meat you like, salami, pepperoni, anything like in the processed food, I guess you would say, and any kind of cheese you like. We had leftover ham from Christmas, plus I had that Monterey Jack. That's the only reason I used what we had. But this bread is so good. It'd be really good for like grilled cheese sandwich with some soup. Family, that will be really good. Even though there's meat and cheese in here, you can't have too much cheese. Let me package this and we're going to start working on those English muffins. So this time I've decided I'm going to use the wide mouth canning rings because I do want them just a little bit bigger. So I have the big baking sheet with parchment paper, polenta. You can use cornmeal if you like, but I want to give it a good dusting. All right, we'll start with that. So here's our sourdough English muffin mix. And it's been fermenting all night, so it's perfect. In this ramekin, I have 2 tablespoons of sugar, 2 teaspoons of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of salt. Let's mix that together. Break up any of those clumps of the baking soda. And we're going to knead that. And I'm just using a rubber bench scraper, just trying to turn it over into itself. That's the flour left over from the sourdough bread we put in the oven. I'm going to add about anywhere between a 1/2 cup to 3/4 cups of flour. We can always add more. I'm going to knead this, make sure we get all the sugar, salt, and that baking soda evenly distribute into our fermented dough. This dough is a dream to work with. If you bake a lot of breads and you find your favorite dough, this is one of my favorites. All right, I think we are good. Put a little bit more flour so we can start rolling it out. And we're going to roll it to a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch thick. Now the single recipe that we made the other week, we got 20 of the standard size canning ring, but this is a double recipe and we're going to be using the wide mouth canning ring. We want to make sure everything stays nice and floured. Nothing is sticking. All right, I think that is good. Start cutting out our circles. Place it right on top of that cornmeal or the polenta. Look how beautiful and puffy they look. Oh, it's gorgeous. All right, now we're going to put everything back together, re-roll it out. All right, one more time. And of course, the funky one. Let me clean up. We're going to get that cast iron griddle on the stovetop and get it warmed up. So I have the 2 burners on the left side on. Put my griddle down. And we ended up with 18 English muffins. I'm gonna let this griddle heat up. We're gonna put some polenta, add our English muffins, cook them. I'm thinking a little bit longer than the last time because I said 3 or 5 minutes. I think it's gonna be more like 5 to 7 minutes per side. Flip them and cook it again. And I noticed my small back burner actually heats up hotter than the large front burner. So we'll just take that in consideration as we're placing them. So if you put your hand on the top, you can feel the heat radiating through that cast iron. Go ahead and add some polenta. So this is the side we had sitting on the baking sheet. So we have it top side down. Well, let's just start with 7. Cook that about 5 to 7 minutes and then we'll flip it. You can start seeing them puff up. Family. That is caused by the baking soda reacting to that sourdough bread. Gorgeous. Can you see how they're puffing up? It's beautiful. It's been 3 minutes. I want to take a peek. Oop, I don't think they're ready. Nope, nope, nope. We're leaving them alone. We're going to leave them alone. And I have the burners on medium, just a little bit on the low side of medium, but very, very close to medium. Oh, family, look at that color. That is exactly what we want. That actually took 4 minutes. All right, see what I mean by this side is hotter than this side. That has a pretty color. Oh, family, I am very happy with the size of these English muffins. I'm going to turn it down right in the middle of medium and low because the outside are getting beautiful, but the inside's not quite done yet. And start moving them around. There we go. Now, if they're not done on the inside, I'm not really worried about that because I can always finish these in the oven because I'm more concerned about the browning of the outside than I am about the inside with the stovetop. We can finish this in the oven, no problem. I'm going to take these off. Well, you know what? First, I want to check the temperature just to see where we are because it needs to be between 205 and 215. We're reading 180. So I'm going to take these off. We'll finish them in the oven. But before I go any further, I want to remove the burnt cornmeal. Some more cornmeal. We have 9 minutes left with the sourdough bread in the oven. As soon as those come out, I think these will be almost ready to go into the oven. And I'll show you the final product. So all the English muffins were cooked on the stovetop, but I do want to put them in the oven, probably about 15 minutes, just to make sure they're completely done. The bread has been in the oven for the 45 minutes, wasn't ready, so I extended it for 15 minutes. So it's been in there for an hour, and it's going to beep in 8 seconds. I do want to check the temperature. Do you remember what the temperature of bread is? 205 to 215 Fahrenheit. And we're at 205. The sourdough bread is good. I'm gonna leave the temperature at 375. I'm gonna put in the English muffins. I'm gonna set the timer for 10 minutes. We'll check on those because I don't want them to get overcooked, but I do want them done. And the next thing I'm gonna do is go ahead and brown some sausage. I have a ½ pound of our homemade pork sausage. I'm gonna put that in the skillet and brown it. And I took one of our bacons. This is a 3/4 pound package. We got this on sale a couple months ago. It was a 1½ pound package. We cut it in half, put it in vacuum sealed bags and stuck these in the freezer. I think I'm gonna go ahead and cook all of this so that the husband can have bacon sandwiches if he wants, or we can just use bacon on something. Bacon is good for everything. Let me reset my kitchen and I'll be right back. So I have the 3/4 pounds of bacon on the small bacon sheet. I'm gonna put this in the oven. And I think the English muffins are ready. Oh, they're pretty. Let's pick a random one and check the internal temperature by going in on this side. And I went ahead and cooked that sausage. And as soon as we get the bacon out of the oven, we can go ahead and get our eggs in there. It's still only reading 180. Some of them are reading about 190. It's like the middle 6, because I have 6, 6, and 6. The middle 6 seems to be cooking a little bit slower. So let me just rotate them just a bit. All right, I'm gonna put this back in the oven for another maybe 2 or 3 minutes. Now, because we are using the bigger English muffins instead of the small ones, I figured I'm gonna need just a couple more eggs. So this time we're using 10 eggs. Add some salt, pepper, perfect. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and take the English muffins out. It's been about 2.5 minutes. Perfect. 205. So I have a 3-quart casserole dish. We'll give it a good drizzle of olive oil. Now, if you use a cooking spray, you can actually use that. I do not use cooking spray. We only have 3 oils in our house that we use, and that's coconut oil, olive oil, and avocado oil. I wouldn't mind having one of those oil spritzers that you can put oil in and it spritz. Just haven't gotten one yet. All right, let's dump our eggs in here. And our sausage. I want all those burnt crisp in there too. Oh yeah. All right, let's move it around. Make sure we have sausage everywhere. All right, that looks good. And I'm just going to go ahead and put it in the oven right there beside the bacon. The bacon is in there, nowhere near ready. This is probably going to take about 15 minutes. We just want to make sure the eggs are cooked and they're set. So when we cut into them, we have no runny eggs. Family, we're getting there. So we're almost finished with our breakfast sandwiches. We have our sourdough bread made, done. We have bacon that we're cooking just so we can have some quick, easy access bacon. And the only other thing we have to do is make that pizza. Pizza dough has been in the refrigerator for 24 hours as of right now, but it's okay. We'll make the pizzas, and then we've got breakfast and lunch, and all we have to do is focus on dinners. And then sometimes our dinners are enough to carry us over for leftovers for lunch the next day. So if we plan ahead, spend 2 days in our kitchen, we can do a whole week's worth of meals, at least for breakfast and lunch. I'll see you in about 15 minutes when that bacon is done and those eggs are done. Bacon is done. I have it sitting on some paper towels on a plate, just letting it drain. The eggs have set perfect. I'm going to loosen it around all the edges. I want to get underneath of it, make sure it's going to be loose from the bottom. Perfect. Transfer it to a cutting board. I do have the oven turned off. I'm going to let that cool just a bit. I went ahead and sliced some pepper jack cheese. That's ready for us. The English muffins have cooled off. We can go ahead and take care of these. I'm just taking a fork, going all the way around, and then opening them up. Let's put some cheese on our eggs. This was probably a little bit more than a half a pound of pepper jack cheese, so I just went ahead and sliced the whole thing. All right, that looks good. We're just going to let that sit and melt. Back to the English muffins. Okay, English muffins are ready for us. Let's take care of the sandwiches. I think I can get 3. All right, we're going to work on getting them 3 down. Okay. It looks like I can get 12 out of this casserole dish. That is going to be perfect. So we have 12 breakfast sandwiches, plus we have 6 English muffins that doesn't have anything on them. And I like wrapping them in parchment paper because they'll go straight from the freezer to the refrigerator. And after they have thawed, I can stick them straight into the microwave. I do it for 30 seconds. And then I flip them, even still with the paper. And I cook them for another 30 seconds. And they're perfectly warm. So we have 12 sausage, egg, and cheese English muffin breakfast sandwiches going in the freezer. Plus we have 6 English muffins we can have for breakfast. Bacon is cooked. Our delicious Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal. And our beautiful sourdough bread. While I'm resetting the kitchen and getting all the dishes washed, I'm going to go ahead and put my 2 very large, these are 12-inch cast iron skillets in the oven, 400 degrees, so they can start warming up. .400 degrees so we can get started on that pizza. Let me put things that need to go in the freezer back in the freezer, wash all my dishes, put my clean dishes away, and we'll get started on those pizzas. I wanted to show you how to make pizza sauce with just canned tomato products, but I don't have any more tomato sauce in my pantry. I'm working on an Azure order for the next time we have a drop in my area, which will be the last week of January. I will get some tomato sauce then, but at the moment I don't have any. So I am going to be using my home canned pasta sauce. If I can find a video where I made pizza sauce with canned tomatoes and just added some herbs and spices, I'll leave it in the link below. But today we're going to be doing it this way. So I just take my pasta sauce and I dress it up with a few herbs and spices, and then I have pizza sauce. So I'm just going to dump this into this bowl. Make sure we get all the goodness out of here. I add a tablespoon of oregano, a tablespoon of garlic powder, and a tablespoon of onion powder. Now I know our pasta sauce has all that in there, but this just gives it a different flavor profile and turns it into pizza sauce. Mix that really well together. And that's simple. Pizza dough has been in the refrigerator since we made it yesterday. We're going to work with 2 at a time. And this is a handy little bread making rolling tool, perfect for these pizzas. I do not use any extra flour or oil. That's why I like using the parchment paper. Trying to keep it as round as possible. Perfect. Our pans are nice and hot. I'm going to drizzle a little bit of avocado oil, a pinch of polenta, and the pizza dough. Listen to that sizzle. Kind of went in there funky. It's okay, we can fix it. It's not the end of the world. Put a couple scoops of our sauce right there in the center. And I like pushing it almost to the edge. I'll leave about a 1/2 inch crust right there on the edge. It's going to go back in the oven. And let's prepare the second one. Avocado oil, a little bit of polenta, and the pizza dough. Oh, that one did much better. In the oven, I'll let those pizzas cook about 15 minutes just so they're par cooked. I'll take them out, let them cool completely. I'll add more pizza sauce and then I'll put cheese on top. You can top yours any way you like. We like ours just cheese. That way when we're ready to cook them, take them from the freezer straight to the oven or even the air fryer, and we'll finish cooking them at 350 degrees for about 15-20 minutes. But that's when we'll put our toppings on it. So we'll give that about 15 minutes. We'll go ahead and get 2 more doughs. Keep the rotation going until all the pizzas are cooked. Then we'll finish dressing them, wrapping them up, and put them in the freezer. And as for the bags, I save them. I keep them in my Ziploc bag for pizza dough in the freezer. That way they stay nice and fresh. Oils will go rancid if they're used, and we've had dough in these bags, so they'll go rancid really quick at room temperature or even in the refrigerator. So always keep these in the freezer. These are the last 2. We'll take them out, put them on parchment paper. So I put my oiled Ziploc bags back in the Ziploc bag. This is going to go back into the freezer. And it'll be right there waiting for us the next time we need to make pizzas. So I have 4 over there cooling off. The 2 that just came out of the oven need to cool off. Then we're going to dress them with a little bit more sauce and some cheese and get them wrapped up into the freezer. The pizzas only took 10 minutes to par cook. I was only cooking them enough to stop the dough from rising and to get a nice little char on the bottom. Can you see the color? I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. Now, when you're making your own homemade freezer meals, it's some trial and error. You have to figure out what your family enjoys, what you can make, what ingredients you have or need to get. We love pizzas. Sometimes when I just do not feel like cooking dinner or we've got plans to go outside the home and do other things, I can throw one of these pizzas in the oven, cook them, and we've got a quick meal. But it's going to take some trial and error. And if you're looking for ideas of what you can prepare and put in your freezer, walk down the freezer aisle of the grocery store. Things that you see in the freezer that you tend to gravitate to buy to have convenient food for your family, you can make it. It's going to take some time to work out a recipe that works for your family. The thing about food and mistakes, it's still edible. Might not be what we want, but we can eat this, work on our recipe, and move on. And eventually you're going to find the recipe that works for your family that you can make. I love spending my weekends. I know I'm probably very rare saying this, but I like spending my weekends making food for my family, which is the husband and myself, so I don't have to cook 3 meals a day, 7 days a week. It can last us 1 week. It can last us for 3 months. It really depends how busy we are at that time and I needed something really quick, or we just eat it once a week. It doesn't matter. But these will stay in the freezer fresh, ready to go, up to 3 months. I have been known to have pizzas in my freezer longer than 3 months, but 3 months is where I would try to push it if I were you. They won't go to waste. We will eat it. Just loses a little bit of an integrity of the taste. But other than that, it's okay. So once the last 2 cool off, we're going to dress it with more sauce, put some cheese on it, wrap them up, and stick them in the freezer. They have cooled off enough for us to handle them, so I'm going to divide what the sauce left over with these 6 pizzas. Perfect. Smear that around. And I have some grated mozzarella. I usually do about 1.5 pounds when I do my recipe of 6 pizzas. I buy the mozzarella from Azure Standard in a 5 or 6 pound brick. I grate it, and then I just put them in 1.5 pound bags, stick them in the freezer. That way when I need to make pizzas, they're ready to go. And then I put parchment paper on the top. And then I double wrap them in plastic wrap. So the first layer got wrapped that way. I turn it a 90-degree turn and wrap it the other way. So one pizza is wrapped up. Let me get the other 5 wrapped up. And I'll show you the bounty. So we spent all day yesterday in the kitchen. That video was last Thursday, making our sourdough English muffins and the sourdough bread. We made yeast bread. We did this from start to finish. And then we made some sourdough cinnamon toast crunch. So we got breakfast taken care of. Plus we have 6 pizzas. We made the pizza dough last Thursday, put them in the refrigerator, left them in there for 24 hours. And then today, which is in your time, Tuesday, we made our pizzas, we made our breakfast sandwiches. We did all the things in the last 2 days. So this is something that you could do to make sure you have breakfast, lunch, snacks, whatever, at the ready. So when you're taking the Grammys challenge of no outside food, no boxed, ready-to-go ingredients, no deliveries, no eating out, nothing. Everything's going to be made in our kitchen. When you take the Grammys challenge, we have a head start. I just want to say thank you very much for hanging out with me in the kitchen. If you don't mind, give this video a thumbs up. While you're at it, please subscribe. I would love to have you part of the Grammy family. In this kitchen, we do the best we can of making everything from scratch. Occasionally we do cheat and buy something that we probably shouldn't, but it's not every meal, it's not every day. And husband and I, we do not eat outside the home, except occasionally he will get convenient food, but it's, again, not every day, not every meal. So until next time, y'all have a blessed day. Don't forget, let me know, are you taking the Grammys challenge? Start cooking real food with real ingredients to feed your family. Until next time, y'all have a blessed day. Bye, family.